Team 4 Channel News, broadcasting in super high definition.
Good evening. I'm Liz Live with Team 4 Channel News. Welcome to today's headline news. More problems have surfaced involving the disability claims backlogs and long appointment wait times under the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. The VA handles three major categories for America's veterans: medical care, benefits, and burials and memorials. Bummer. Today we will take a closer look at the medical system, the target of the report and allegations and benefits system, which has been plagued by significant backlog for years. Team 4 News reporter Carol Ina begins coverage with an inside scoop at the backlog and wait time inside Veteran Affairs.
Hi Liz, Carolina here at the Department of Veteran Affairs, where earlier today interviews were held with key stakeholders in the middle of this problem. More spotlight was put on addressing the issues and steering towards how to solve the problem of disability claims backlogs and long wait times for appointments after additional data surfaced. This included the VA's disability claims backlog ballooning from about 100,000 to over 600,000 in just 3 years, and officials falsifying reports, hiding the amount of time vets had to wait for their medical appointments. There were policy changes enacted at the VA that seem to have initiated this problem. We'll now turn to key stakeholders who were here earlier today to learn more about the variables that led to this problem, what can be done to resolve it, and get the right care for those that have served. Our first stakeholder is Peter Malinowski.
Hi, my name is Peter Patriot Malinowski. I served as a sergeant in the 82nd Airborne Division as a combat medic. I had 2 tours to Iraq in the years 2003, 4, and 5. While there, I suffered a traumatic brain injury and ruptured eardrums when I was hit with an IED while on patrol. Since I've been out of the Army, I've tried to get my medical care through the VA. I've waited long times to get medical appointments, and after getting the medical appointments and getting my treatment and getting my diagnosis and finding out that I was eligible to get for a disability claim, I applied for claims, and it's been over 250 days since I've applied. I've called back numerous times, and every time I hear they're just working on it, or they've lost my paperwork and I have to resubmit it. It's very, very frustrating. I know others have been through worse than I have and waited longer and have suffered worse than I have, and I feel for them. Us veterans as a group, we are very, very disappointed in the VA, and it's lost its credibility with us.
Next, we will hear from our System Dynamics consultant, Tim Jorto.
As systems dynamic expert, my team's analysis of the problem has been helpful to understand how to resolve the backlog and long appointment wait times. This problem falls into the category of tragedy of the commons, which occurs when multiple parties enjoying the benefits of a common resource do not pay attention to the effects they are having on that common resource. Eventually, the resource is exhausted, resulting in the shutdown of all activities of the parties in the system. The resource in this situation is the VA's technical claims system, which became backlogged, and the appointment system, which caused wait time delays. As you can see in this causal loop diagram, there are key variables in these relationships. The VA initiatives seem to have the right intent, but they did not factor in impacts at the system level, which created extra burden on the medical system and therefore made matters worse. First, the VA's attempt to fix the criteria for disability claims backlog from 180 days to 125 days nearly doubled the backlog in 1 day. This claims redefinition caused an increase in the amount of claims in the system. Next, the eligibility expansion to include disability for veterans who had been exposed to Agent Orange and those who suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder had the most impact on the backlog, increasing the amount of claims in the total system. Third, when the VA engaged in outreach programs to explain the new eligibility standards, more veterans became eligible, became aware they could not receive treatment and benefits, and thus seeked out the VA. The appointment wait time key variables include the creation of the goal for appointments to be under 14 days, amount of appointments with aging of World War II and Vietnam era veterans, and habitual systemic misreporting of wait times in an attempt to accommodate for the influx of appointments in the time frame. The VA should review the following solutions to accommodate the increased amount of patients' claims and appointments. First, create vouchers for patients to go to non-VA hospitals, which would be a more short-term solution. Treat only combat-inflicted medical problems. Hire more VA doctors and nurses. And last but not least, continue to implement electronic claims filing and any system upgrades.
Next, we will hear from former VA Secretary Eric Shinseki.
I am former Veterans Affairs Secretary Eric Shinseki. Thank you for your questions on the investigation. I was fully cooperative with the President's investigation, and I believe there were changes under my leadership that tried to fix the problems, but now will be left to the new leadership to resolve. Firstly, the VA redefined criteria for a claim to be considered backlog. A claim had been defined as backlog if it had not been processed in 180 days. And I view that as too long of a period of time, so the VA reduced the number to 125 days. Secondly, the VA opened eligibility for disability for veterans who had been exposed to Agent Orange and those who suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder. As a Vietnam vet, the previous exclusion felt unjust to me. Thirdly, the VA engaged in outreach programs to explain the new eligibility standards. This made many veterans who were not aware they could receive the treatments and benefits seek out the VA. Many of the Vietnam-era veterans have been educated on the effect that Agent Orange could have had on them and their coverage at the VA. Fourthly, the VA also implemented a new electronic disability processing system in 2010. While the health records for veterans had been electronic for years, the processing of claims remained on paper. We attained significant improvement from the high of over 600,000 claims in March. They were down to 311,000.
As you can see, there are many variables that led to these problems, and it seems with the collaboration and insights from these stakeholders, we can truly fix the system and help our vets. We have certainly learned that it is critical to look at the overall system when making a change and to understand the relationships between each variable in the flow. This is Carolina here from Team 4 Channel News. Back to you, Liz.
Oh, thanks, Carolina. I sure hope we can get past the backlog and wait time problems to address this tragedy. Well, that's a wrap for tonight. We hope you'll join us next week when we take a look at our investigative report on climate change and if a Sharknado is brewing right here on the East Coast.
Team 4 Channel News.